Hey guys. Okay, so let's talk about something serious for a moment. Guys can have long hair. Guys can have short hair. Guys can dye their hair all the colors of the rainbow. And guess what? That doesn't necessarily mean that they're gay. Men can get pregnant. Guys can have periods. It's okay. What's not okay though is shaming someone for, having or not having certain body parts just because of the way they were born. If somebody uses the guy's bathroom, that means they're a guy. If someone uses the girl's bathroom, that means they're a girl. It doesn't have to be dictated by whether or not they bleed out of certain parts every month, or whether or not they get pregnant, or anything else. Just because somebody happens to have a period doesn't necessarily mean that they're a girl. Guys can have periods and bleed out of their penises. Just because somebody gets pregnant doesn't necessarily mean that they're a girl either. Guys can get pregnant. And realize the whole time I'm not saying trans people at all, because it is 2017. Why should it have to be labeled as, oh, trans person gets pregnant, trans person has period? Why does that matter at all? It shouldn't. And just because some people have to deal with certain things, or some people get pregnant, doesn't necessarily mean that all has to result to being a girl. Because it really doesn't. People should open up their minds and realize that, society is changing, and people need to change the way that society thinks about gender roles and everything. Because, just because of certain things, again, why does it have to have a label? I'm not saying that most trans people aren't okay to admitting that they're trans, but at the same time, just because of certain things, you shouldn't automatically assume, oh, that's a, girl, that's a boy, that's whatever. Just because we don't necessarily meet your society norms doesn't mean that we're more or less of any people. And doesn't necessarily mean that you should be able to, label us as a pregnant trans male. Why does the word trans have to be anywhere in that? You could just say pregnant male or guy has period. Doesn't necessarily matter, because that's basically like saying, oh, fat and lazy Susan went to work today, instead of just saying, oh, Susan went to work today. Why does anything have to be added to that? It is pretty much ridiculous, and I don't know, I think that's just something that really needs to change about life. So that's basically my input on that, and you can think whatever you want, but in all honesty, just, people really need to stop shaming people for other things. Just because somebody isn't born with a certain part, or has a certain part, doesn't necessarily automatically mean that they're born as a certain gender. Gender is more than what you're born as, really. It's a matter of who and what you want to identify as, and it should be a spectrum instead of just A and B. And if you go around shaming people for what they want to be and who they believe and just everything else in life, then really you're a crappy person for that. So yeah, anyway, bye guys, stay peaceful, stay happy, and as always, bye my Pika family.